Rogan moved to Austin, opened a comedy club there, and now all these comedians have moved to Austin to be part of that world.
Yeah.
Like, how does that work? Like, what is that like?
I think it's like any type of clubhouse that you have, right? So you have like all of these different great clubs, and you have a Comedy Cellar in New York and Comedy Store in LA. And, he's opened a great comedy club in Austin where we have a lot of people go there to perform, and there's a lot of comedy fans that go. So he's cultivated a lot of people that want to come, and he's made it kind of a destination for people that want to see comedy.
Is it a particular kind of comedy?
I think in some cases, yes.
Like, is
right?
it anti-woke or?
I think you're far less likely to find that type. Like, the word woke is kind of a boring word, but like, I think you're absolutely more likely to find the type of comedy that Joe likes at his comedy club, which is like kind of edgy, no holds barred, in the sense that, like, they're not policing, anybody can say anything as long as there's a good faith effort to make it funny. Mm-hmm. So I think that there are people that believe, and they're well within their rights to believe this, that there are topics and words that are off limits. And I don't think Joe feels that way. I think he feels that, like, the people that come into the club, if they have a good faith effort to make a topic funny or an idea funny, that they should be allowed the space to do that. And there are people that disagree with him on that. And there are places that you're far less likely to see certain topics talked about in a funny way because people just they believe that they're off the table.
So I watched this interview, and I don't know what made me want to watch it. It really wasn't Tim Dillon, because I'm not a Tim Dillon fan. And I don't know who this Ellie Reeves reporter is. I have no idea. And I would hope that I would never hear her speak about comedy again. I don't understand what the fascination with the comedy scene in Austin is with people that are not comedy fans. Like, you can clearly tell that this lady, it looks like she doesn't even laugh. She doesn't have a good time. And I'm sure, in retrospect, she laughs at something. But it just seemed very judgmental, this entire interview. For her to say Rogan came to Austin and now all comedians are moving down to Austin, what's that like? I've never heard anyone ask, why are all these comedians from other cities moving to LA? I've never heard anybody say, why are all these comedians from the United States moving to New York? It's a great thing to be able to build a new scene. Some people can't afford to live in LA. Some people can't afford to live in New York, or they can and would rather not live way below the poverty line. So to create a new ecosystem in a middle of the country position is definitely helping out in the long run. Like, I've wanted to move to LA for the longest. I wanted to move to New York for the longest. And my family lives in New Jersey. I could have made my way that way, but I have a family. And I don't want my family being raised in LA or being raised in New York. That's just how I feel. This interview seemed like she wanted to talk to Joe Rogan and just settled to talk to one of Rogan's friends. I looked at the numbers because I heard some things that she said within the interview. Like, podcasters are taking the easy route in interviewing people. And what that sounded like to me is that journalists that went to school for years upon, however long it takes, probably 4 years, maybe more, but I'm thinking 4. They go to school for 4 years to ask stupid ass questions like this lady asked the entire hour plus video. And if you look at the numbers that mainstream news gets versus podcasters get, I think it's a little bit of jealousy. I believe that the machine is no longer the machine. And I think the jig is up. It's time to figure out a different way to reach the masses, because obviously nobody's watching the news. Like, I didn't watch that on the news. I watched that on YouTube. That's just the way of the world. And for the longest, we've been lied to by the news outlet, whether it be one or the other. Because I mean, I know which one is left, which one is right, but I don't give a fuck about that. I want to hear honest dialogue, as well as people answering tough questions, not being pigeonholed of, you can't talk about this, you can't talk about that, don't say this, don't ask this question, because that is what the news has done forever. Propaganda, all of these things have been done from mainstream news. And now you have a different outlet to get to the masses. I'm just happy that comedy is thriving. And I don't believe that people that do podcasts are responsible for what is said on their platform by their guests. I don't expect people that run podcasts to be held accountable for the amount of ears and eyes that are put on whatever the subject may be, or whoever the guests may be. But watching that entire interview, I was highly agitated with the reporter. And shout out to Tim Dillon for articulating extremely well from a comedic or for a comic standpoint. If you haven't seen the video, please go watch it in its entirety and then come back here and tell me your thoughts on it, because I have my own thoughts. I think that mainstream media is slowly dying. And now that we have a direct path to the audience that is, whoever wants to watch can watch. I'm not right, I'm not left. I just want to be financially stable. Fuck all of the politics. I don't give a shit. If I can take care of my family and position myself for my family to have generational wealth, that's all I care about. And what is it like for comedians to move to Austin? It is the gold rush of comedy. And not everybody's getting the same opportunities as others. There's some people that come from LA that are getting an opportunity before, the up and comers. There's people that come from New York that get the red carpet rolled out for them. It is what it is. And every comedy community is kind of the same. As much as Austin is projected to be something different, it is literally just picking up the same, I can't think of the word, but it's doing the same that they wanted to get away from in LA. They're doing it here. Same thing with the New York. It's just in a different location. She said, I've been trying to get on, get tickets for Kill Tony. Bitch, you don't want to be, you want to do it for research purposes. So you can go and shit on the type of comedy that you've seen. Now, do I agree with everything that they do on Kill Tony? Absolutely not. But I've seen it give comedians opportunities, and not everybody is doing that. I can't name a whole bunch of higher end individuals that are giving their platform to younger comedians and helping them change their lives. Is this a woke stand-up comedy era? I don't know. Is it anti-woke? I don't know. What I do know is that it gives, this place seems to be a place where you can talk about anything. Do audiences tense up on some of the subjects that are spoken on? Absolutely. But isn't that everywhere? Like the Bible Belt, they don't want you talking about their Jesus in a negative way. And that's just because they're in the Bible Belt. Up in the northeast, you don't want to hear a bunch of people shitting on Jewish people. But do they do it all over? Absolutely they do. Because it's called stereotypes. And stereotypes to me sometimes are funny. Now, if it's a beaten dead horse, then it becomes old. But for the most part, it's funny. So what I would say to the news outlet is, the jig is up, bitch. Figure out how to maneuver in the proper way to build a fan base. Because if you look at a lot of the television personalities, they're all coming over and getting on the internet. I remember a time they were like, that's just child's play. Well, times are changing, bitch. Get the panties out of a bunch and enjoy yourself. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Did y'all watch the video with Ellie Reeve or whatever the fuck that lady's name is and Tim Dillon? If you haven't, go watch it and then come back here and tell me your thoughts.